Here we are, 360 Art Drops with the Z, which helps all small international businesses grow. And we have with us Deb Geiger Rochau, and she's a life coach and an empowerment coach. Deb, how did you get into being a coach for other people?
I really love helping people. I'm a former educator, so I loved being there and hearing everyone's story. So just being here, thank you for having me. I would love to hear more of your story as well. So after I decided to change careers from being an educator to coaching, I just was so fulfilled with speaking to people when I give my presentations and also helping women specifically find their true authentic self.
Uh-huh. So do you do a lot of seminars and one-on-ones both equally, or?
I do more presentations and seminars, and
Okay.
coaching is more here and there.
Okay. What inspired you? What was the first thing that inspired you? Or do you remember the time when you first said, okay, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do?
Yes, I remember distinctly at one of my first presentations, somebody in the audience at the end had asked, "So how long have you been doing this?" And I looked at my watch and I said, "About 45 minutes."
Oh,
And we all laughed. Although I've been a speaker and a coach because I was a teacher, like I said, and then I was a coach for sports, a sports coach.
oh
So I've
wow.
done this all my adult life. But when I got to do it in my own business, my own way, from my own heart, soul, and passion, I knew that day I was
Right.
going to love it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my art. There was a specific in like time where I just said, okay, I'm an artist. I'm not I'm everything else, but I'm an artist. I got a degree in science and was, in banking and payroll account managing. And I realized I'm not any of those things. I'm an artist.
That's
But
great.
I can relate.
And you have reached out and helped so many people through that passion, probably more than banking and your other
Yeah,
jobs.
definitely. Definitely more than banking.
Well, and thank you then for taking that step because it's not easy at first, is it?
No, it's kind of a dilemma because you're like, can I support myself? What am I gonna do? Things like that.
Yes.
What what's uh what's the importance of setting goals, being a life coach and imparting that knowledge to people? What's your importance for setting life goals?
So that's a great question. I think of life as abundant
Right,
and widespread.
right.
I think of life as the canvas in according to art.
Yeah,
I think life is the canvas and the people you bring in are your palette.
right,
And you work with them, you talk to them. Some of them you get along exceptionally well, some of them you don't, but that helps you grow.
right.
So as you meet new people like you and I,
Yeah,
experience a relationship and build that journey together, you've got to know where you're going. So just sitting here, I can just sit here and hope and dream things will happen. But
right,
until you reach out and say, "Hey, come on my podcast," or what are you reading? What are some great things you're doing right now? That doesn't get you thinking to get to that next level. So the
right,
importance of setting goals is basically to know when to put that next foot in front of the other and the other and the other. And then also goals help you when you are in a rut and you know, okay, I need to get 10 sales this week or 10 talks this month, and
uh-huh,
you're at 8 and you sit there and you're like, "Oh, I'm fine." You can't sit back on your laurels with high enough goals. So it keeps you moving forward.
right. Um, so how did you tailor your business so it sets apart from the other coaching businesses? And I just all wanted to take really quick. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. You are the first life coach that I've had, or first empowerment coach that I've interviewed, and it's a really neat experience for me. But yeah, how do you tailor your business and so it sets apart from other empowerment coaches and other healers out there?
Well, thank you for having me too. Again, getting out of your comfort zone, right? Speaking to other people so you grow. So I love to work with each other to help
Yeah.
each other grow. So I set myself apart from others because I have, well, like others, similar life experiences where things weren't always easy. I struggled. I went through tough times. I'm writing a book right now that's called 45 Degrees of Hope. Turning
Oh, nice.
your past, yeah, and the idea is turning your past pain into power, purpose, and productivity.
Oh, very nice.
So because I've gone through it, because I've experienced it, I feel like I can speak from a higher level than just what I've written or read in a book.
Right.
As well, I have my master's in special needs. So I was in the classroom working with kids and adults with special needs. So I have a wide breadth of patience and an ability to differentiate and find exactly what that person needs by asking the right questions, but ultimately by allowing and creating empathetic spaces.
Okay.
Meaning
Yeah.
that it's okay to be you. It's
Right.
okay to not be okay. It's
Right.
okay to have high aspirations and reach those goals. So allowing people to be them and allowing that empathetic space is not out there a lot because people try to make other people fit into their box or make sure they look a certain way, and it's just
Right.
not realistic.
And then they say, like, maybe if you look this way, then that's the only way you could be successful. And you're allowing for like a wider breadth of like success.
Right. And the openness to diversity, inclusivity, any type of creativity. And
Right.
that's where we each can learn from each other is differences.
Right. How do you make how do you manage your time so you can have your personal life, your coaching, and all your other responsibilities? How do you manage that on a day-to-day basis and maybe like month to month type of?
Uh, I just did a presentation on time management, so
Oh,
your timing is impeccable. So what I talk about in my presentations is knowing your true authentic self. So
okay.
how to manage time has a lot to do with how I work, how I operate. In my presentation, I talked about using different techniques, Pomodoro technique, 2-minute rule, as well as Eisenhower matrix.
Okay.
So I'll go back to say how I do it myself, but as well as some techniques
Okay.
for our audience. So I'm an auditory learner,
Okay.
very much an auditory learner. But when it comes to lists, I have to write them down.
Right.
So what I do sometimes is I'll text myself, hey Siri, text Deb about this. So I have it in writing and I can put it on my whiteboard.
Right.
I whiteboard, she was talking, my phone was talking. So I whiteboard a lot. I have what I need to do for my goals for today. I
Uh-huh.
have how I'm doing for my goals for the month
Uh-huh.
and for business. So I have my business whiteboard. And I have my own vision board for personally, have I exercised this week? Have I spent time with friends and family?
Uh-huh.
Have I had time alone?
Right.
I'm not one that loved time alone because of my past and the fears and the voices.
Uh-huh.
But I stopped and allowed myself to hurt when I hurt, cry when I cry, pee my pants laughing because I'm having such a good time. Now I'm okay with being alone, and I understand the time alone is so important. Literally giving myself a brain break and just sitting with my eyes closed, quiet for 5 minutes, or taking a nap, whatever honors me, going for a walk, that refilling of my cup,
Right.
of my, because I have other people refill my cup a lot. I love that. But
Uh-huh.
people are, so when people can't, I have to be accountable to myself and
Right.
make sure
I think that's a really good point that you brought up. I mean, when finally started like listening to myself and implementing it, because maybe I was not in the right crowd where they actually cared about me. So I would just like let it go. I'm like, I didn't want to fight or like confront anyone. So I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna say what I really think here because I don't want to upset anyone and I don't want to lose the love that I have from this person. And you get to feeling like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow, with somebody else's flow though. It's not your own flow. And that's a really big mistake that I think a lot of like younger people make, and they have to learn through their adulthood, is learning that you need to listen to your own body and not somebody else's schedule.
right. Well, and that's the whole part of what I do with my, it's a 3 key freedom formula, is being
Okay.
free from everybody else's judgment or design. Because when you can honor yourself, then you can then even help that other person. I know I personally struggle with saying no sometimes, obviously,
Yeah,
don't
I
we all?
do too.
And as I was working through, because I have my own coach, I
Right.
coach other people, but I have my own coach because that
Oh,
gets me
nice.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was talking about how does it feel when you know you want to say no, but you don't? And all of a sudden I was like, oh, you know, and I totally like allowed myself to feel again and say, it really hurts my feelings because I really want to do this, but then I give in because they want me to. And she said, did you hear yourself? This is what you teach other people. Now it's time to be okay respecting yourself and your own time. And I almost needed permission, I guess. It was great. Now I can be free to be my true authentic self.
Um, yeah, I hear you. So, also, the coaching industry is evolving. How do you stay updated? And how do you also stay updated with all these effective marketing strategies? How do you do that so that you can be on top of things?
Ask for help.
Yeah,
I can't do it all. I love being in front of people and I love helping people, but I also struggle with keeping up my social media, keeping up all the um, CRMs and so forth. So
uh-huh,
I have to ask for help. I have to
okay,
ask, hey, can you help me with my website? Can you help me um, know how to rephrase this? So
okay,
to that same point, AI is coming up where a lot of people are just putting in information and getting information from the computer. And I like to separate myself from that to say, but I teach and coach from a heart to heart method, meaning
yeah, I
I go,
completely understand.
yeah, I come from my heart to reach your heart. And a computer will never be able to do that. I'm not knocking AI. AI is very effective and it's wonderful
Yeah,
because I use that for different videos and advertising and so forth. But when it comes to me and my services, it's heart to heart.
that's the same way I felt about these podcasts when I started to like realize that I need to do this. And so I ran out of like all my painting supplies and like, I don't want to get help for that specifically. And I was, what can I do with my time that would be productive and efficient? And I was like, these podcasts are a really good idea because no one is going to talk the same way that I can. Maybe they can come up with a bunch of questions. Maybe, they could use, similar types of questions. But, when I speak from my heart to your heart, then that's going to be like something that's not like somebody can exactly copy. They might even be able to get a bot to say like whatever, but that's not going to be the exact same response that I'm going to have, or reaction, or the energy that I'm putting out there,
Exactly. Energy,
Such
you
a
hit
good
it right
point.
here.
It's such a good
Mhm.
point, AI is taking over a lot of things, but that will never replace that connection or helping somebody in person where they need to hear an empathetic voice.
Right. And I teach my kids, and I tell my kids to research it, use AI. It's for your benefit. Use it in the right way, right?
Right,
But you
right.
use it to your benefit, get educated, get better from it. But remember, when you need a hug, you're always going to come back to mom. I'm always there for you to give you a hug.
Right. So sweet.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you faced when you first started doing this business? Like before AI and everything, what are the challenges that you faced when you first started out?
Confidence
Confidence.
and believing
And
in myself.
yeah, there's this thing called the like imposter syndrome where people don't feel like they're good enough. Like, can you address something like that? Like, what um what would you say to someone who doesn't feel like they're confident enough and they're just like don't feel like it's them doing the work, or they don't have the confidence, and they feel like an imposter? What would you say to them so that they can get in gear and feel like, yes, I'm taking control of my life?
Uh, I speak on this too. So
Oh,
perfect.
good.
Yeah. So it's going back again. I will forever go back to my core, and that is your true authentic self.
Okay.
So if what you're doing is um, incongruent with who you are or how you want to be, then you have to ask yourself, is it the judgment of others that you're worried about? Or is it that you can do this job really well, but it doesn't feed your passion? It doesn't fuel your soul. So
Right.
there are a couple different angles of imposter syndrome, meaning similar to comparison. Comparison is a thief and a liar. So we
Uh-huh.
compare ourselves to others. And that's what I did at the beginning too, going, well, but I said this that way. I should have said it that way. And I would beat myself up after it. I'd have to have my own counseling session after a couple of my presentations because I forgot this or I didn't say that. And again, remembering that we're human, we can have a conversation. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Allowing yourself that breathing room and being vulnerable, but remembering that imposter syndrome is a good thing because it shows you what you're not. So
Okay.
if you're worried or you're in a job and you're not feeling it, or it's you just don't have that passion, like I said, something's missing,
Something's
then that's not
wrong.
you. That's not what you are. But you don't know if it's you or not, or maybe you just don't like your boss or your people that your team,
Yeah.
right? Unless you know yourself. So we got to go
Right.
back, recognize who you are,
Or
right? That those three key formulas: recognize who you are, identify from the past, not the negative things, but something powerful or good. I talk about a superpower. My maiden name is Geiger, so you can see on my Deb Geiger Rochau, and that's my strength. When I get down, I can say, "You're a Geiger. You can do this." That's from my past. So I
right.
bring present and then reinvent who you want to be for your future. start now?
Yeah, that's a very excellent response. I know that like there's been a few times where I myself have felt that, and I'm like, no, I really love doing these podcasts. It's now it's starting to become a part of me. I'm really enjoying connecting with other people. But I had this really awful experience yesterday where somebody was trying to like basically put me down or gaslight me for being a podcast host. Um, like I just wanted to like my whole reason that I'm doing this podcast is to help elevate small businesses, whether they're art related, music related, healer related, dancing related, what all types of small businesses that are out there right now and that need their own exposure because especially when COVID hit, a lot of people were at home trying to figure out what am I going to do? I got fired or whatever. And a lot of people started bringing out their passions and using that as their businesses. And I really want to help international small businesses grow. That's how I started. That's the mission of the podcast. So I get to like talk to a variety of people, not just artists and musicians, which is some of the things that some of the people are doing. This is a little bit more open. I have a little more way to like kind of move around and talk about different things with other people that like I could like learn from very greatly. And I just thought that was so sad that she just put me down and she just automatically dismissed me. And she's it was a younger girl, like she was like maybe 20, early 20s. And I'm in my 40s right now. And I would just like, don't take it seriously what she said, kind of brush it off your shoulders. She's just saying it because of like some sort of envy or jealousy, or maybe she wanted to feel important because she didn't feel important in her life. Don't take it personally. um because she's like, you just have 45 subscribers, and I don't care how many subscribers I have. This is more for like me connecting. Like I really don't care how many subscribers I get. I mean, if I do get a lot of subscribers, great. But and she was just like, you're a scam, you're gonna talk about healers. And I was just like, how is that a scam? Like it says specifically that I'm like helping international businesses grow, which of healing coaches and empowerment coaches are such a big part of our small business environment. So I got really down for a second. I just felt really super beat up, and then I had to try to coach. I had to try to coach myself, or like pep talk myself into like realizing like you're okay, you know, keep
Yes.
going.
I'm so sorry that you went through that. It hurts my heart. Like when I hear a story of a student that says a teacher ruined them, because I have such fond memories of being in the classroom myself. It
Yeah,
hurts my heart. So I'm sorry.
thank you. I really do appreciate you being like a core in this, podcast that I'm developing, because I hope to, also interview many healers, because healers are a really big part of even artists. And artists, there's like somebody quoted, Bill Gates, who's a famous music producer, quoted that there was a 72% or 73% levels of mental health problems in artists and musicians. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm just quoting him because he probably quoted it from somewhere. I quoted him because I listened to his podcast, or his trying to teach musicians coaching
Right.
his other musicians. And I just that really hit me hard. And then like just realizing like when people say these type of things, it's out of envy or some
Right.
other reason.
Well, and I can't wait to introduce a couple of my friends to you as well, to
Oh,
share the
nice.
wealth, share this opportunity. And that's kind of the point of it, where, you know, the saying, you have to have 100 no's to get a yes, and
Yeah.
so forth. So if you remember, those no's are just as important as your yeses, or those negatives are just as important, or maybe more, because it makes you think, was that me or was that you?
Right.
Right? Because people project their own insecurities on other people.
Right.
It's not you. But so it, once you can get past the pain and the hurt, because it hurts, I know too,
Yeah.
you can say, okay, how am I supposed to grow from this? I give feedbacks from my presentation. I have them fill out a survey, and out of 45, I'll get 3 of them that will say, well, I didn't like that part, or that part wasn't informational. That wasn't important. And it's really great for me, because I call it the other side of the coin, or the other side
Right.
of the pillow. Like, I want to hear everyone's perspective, because the next time I'm going to teach it from a different perspective, so that person or somebody similar can hear what I'm saying. But on the other hand, though, you don't have to be everything to everyone
Yeah.
except yourself.
You just kind of
So
have to
does
like,
this,
yeah, just take the right things as criticism, the positive criticism, not the negative. I
sure.
you know, after this happened, like today, going forward, I decided like I'm gonna approach people like slightly differently, but I'm not gonna take what she said to heart.
What does it, how does this fill your cup when you do these podcasts?
Right. Yeah, I really have to, think about that. It really does, it is filling my cup, because I'm taking something that I love to do, and I'm using that to keep on moving forward, until the point where, you know what, then I'm can get a bunch of canvases, invest in that, and then move forward as an artist as well, and start entering some local or in Indian exhibitions, because I lived in America for most of my life. So like
Mhm.
it's weird being out here.
Oh, really?
Especially the culture, with you know, it's men come first. It's just like that, whether you like it or not, to people to address that, you know, the women are really, really strong, but we still have to say the men are stronger, or like still have to like deal with that.
And
How do
you've
you,
heard
huh?
sorry, I was gonna say,
No, no,
you've heard having your why. So when you discuss your with yourself, or on your whiteboards, or whatever your goals or vision boards are, those are good foundations for when this struggle time comes. So what is your why? What do you do this for? How does it help you? But in the meantime, too, because it's about a mindset, um, my next book is going to be called 18-inch Journey, because we get stuck in our head and we forget to travel to our heart and work out of our heart. I have started a new practice myself, and in the mornings I like to go for walks. I don't get to do
right,
it every day. I wish I did. But I just go on YouTube and I listen to one of the 30-minute inspirational YouTube talks. So Les Brown, Oprah Winfrey, just a really powerful, positive video audio, because I'm an auditory learner. And
yeah,
it gets me back into my realm. And I don't have to circle the wagons of, oh yeah, she said this, or then yesterday I could have. It just kind of gets me back centered, and I can address the issues or the criticisms or the complaints. But it also gives me that chance to say, if I look at the negative, I have to look at the other side of the coin and look at the positive, because there's so many people I've helped. There's so many feedback surveys I have that are wonderful, and people can't wait for my next talk or have coaching. I have a coaching call even tomorrow. But so you have to implement practices to help you keep your mindset
right.
right.
Like, because these mindsets are continuously around me. I've always in my life had to create my own like little bubble where I'm saying this is the right stuff and that's the wrong stuff to listen to. So I completely agree with you. Um, how do you, how are the techniques when you're first meeting somebody? How do you establish trust?
That is a great question. I have a lot of referrals, personal referrals, friends, family, or people that have been in my talks. So I have usually that established trust from a known person, a
Oh, nice.
mutual friend. Yeah. So, but if they hear me speak or present, then in my conversation or in my keynote, then they'll already know me.
Right,
So I rarely get a cold call person where I don't know you and we're just gonna have a coaching session. They don't just find my website, thenextlevelandbeyond.com, and
right,
call me. They either have been in my presentations or they've been referred.
nice. Also, what advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out as a coach? Like, what are your main bullet points?
To keep going, not give up. And the statistic is the hardest years are 3 to 5 years. So if you get to make it to the third year and you're contemplating, I don't think I should do it. I'm not where I want to be. I hear people criticizing me, or I don't have the look, I don't have the website. Keep going.
Right.
Get to the 5 year mark, then make a decision.
Okay.
Don't dip out too soon.
Okay.
No, be ready for the tough calls or
Right.
the negative feedback. It's going to be there.
Right.
Like, how many times have said, this is what I'm going to do with my children, or this is how I'm going to parent them, and then the situation changes. Be flexible.
Uh-huh.
Don't get keep moving forward. Do something every day to move forward.
Okay. That's great advice. Also just to wrap things up, the biggest question I wanted to ask you was, what are the most heartwarming solace and support feedback that you've gotten from any clients in the seminar or just a one-on-one client? How do you how have you pushed through any certain individuals um, that you know whatever your problems are, I'm gonna help you decipher that, and how they actually reciprocating to you in such a grandiose manner.
In a good way, or I didn't
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
the
in a good
question.
way.
Sorry.
Like how anyone has had such a heartwarming solace and support. Those stories, one or two of them are.
I that first talk that I was referring to, I had one of my supporters give me such an amazing testimony. Just to be vulnerable, it made me cry
Uh-huh.
because I do it out of passion and love to help others. But when I see it come full circle, and she asked for coaching and asked and wrote me a testimony, I was floored that it reached her that deeply and that solidly, to say, from my background of being a special needs teacher, I know empathy. I'm very patient. I'm very loving. I'm very kind and not judgmental. And she just said, I've never felt so comfortable and so loved just in a setting, a one-on-one setting before.
Oh, wow. That's such a great story.
Yeah.
I really wanted to thank you for being on here with me on 360 Art Drops. And I hope that you know, maybe we can keep in touch and maybe next year you can come on or in a few months. And just wanted to thank you genuinely from bottom of my heart for you being on here today, Deb Geiger Rochau. Did I got that right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a
Well,
pleasure.
thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and an honor to meet, like I said, meet people and learn their journeys and continue to have them part of my palette. So you're part of my coloring design in my life. So thank you very much. You're
Yeah,
doing awesome. Keep up the good work.
thank you. And you're in Colorado, right?
Yes.
So, if I hear of anybody who needs help in Colorado, or do you also do, interstate or international calls through through Skype or anything or Zoom?
I do. I do online. Mostly I do online. I'll be in North Carolina as well, back and forth.
Okay,
And so, yes, I do. I love presentations in person because, again, that heart to heart
right.
coaching usually is through Zoom online, but I can do it in person too. So I
And
look forward
the
to
way
seeing
that
them.
most people reach you is through LinkedIn, is that correct?
Or they can go to my website, thenextlevelandbeyond.com.
Okay. And that's just completely spelled out, the next level and beyond, completely spelled out. Okay. Thank you so much. I want to thank you again, and we hope to have you on here again soon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. Much love.
Thanks. You too. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.